Hi guys, we've been doing some fancy woodworking lately, so I thought it would be good to do a bread and butter plumbing repair just to balance it out, because even though we enjoy the woodworking, the plumbing is what pays the bills in the handyman business to an extent. So what we're going to change out today is something called the fill valve in the toilet. Now this is basically, it looks like this little plastic dingbat. It's actually the heart of your toilet, because it's what lets water in to fill the bowl and the tank. And inside here is a little rubber diaphragm with a needle valve. Kind of reminds me of a motorcycle carburetor, but anyway, it works great until that rubber cracks, and then it works not at all. So let me show you what's going on with this toilet. Now this is a pretty easy repair. It doesn't take any tools really, except maybe a pair of channel locks if stuff's stuck. And you can get one of these for $6 or $7 at your hardware store. This was a set that cost about $13 because it also came with the fill hose and the rubber clapper. I figured if I'm in the toilet, I might just change all that out while I'm there and not have problems for a while. So I'll show you what's going on. Here's the toilet in question. Looks like one of the first generation low flow toilets. They weren't famous, but when well maintained they will work okay. But once that fill valve goes, forget about it. So I'll show you what happens when we flush. Pretty weak flush. And I hope you can hear that whistling noise. It should be more of a whoosh noise as water goes in to fill it. But what it is a whistle of air going through the hole in the fill valve. And now at this point, we could let that run for an hour and it wouldn't fill up. So, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the supply. Remember that clockwise always makes valves close. Get back there. And this is going to be extra easy because the fill valve in there is the same brand I got, Fluid Master. It's one of the 2 or 3 really popular brands. So first, see there's about 2 inches of water left in there. So want to grab a bucket of something like a little bucket or a piece of Tupperware, and then a towel for the stuff that doesn't go in the bucket. Thing about working in bathrooms is they're small, so your tools end up being in the hall. Okay, but in a bucket, towel. I'm going to put the bucket under the part where the supply hose goes into the tank. And this very often, you can just unscrew them. Looks like this one's going to be one of the easy ones. Okay. So, just empty out the hose, tuck it aside, and then I'm going to undo the lock nut on the bottom of the fill valve. That's the bolts the threads on. It's just like a nylon lock nut. And now water's flowing pretty good. The bucket's catching most of the water. It's really tough to get it completely under there because of the way the supply line is. So that's why the towel is very helpful. And that's the thing about plumbing and pipe fitting, you're going to get wet. So, might as well just embrace that. And that can go just right back in the toilet. Save the lock nut. And I'll come by with a sponge later, get the rest of that water, but it's in a bathroom, so as long as it's not soaking my jeans too bad or running out in the hall to destroy the carpet, not going to worry about it right now. Okay. So here's the old valve. Looks just like the new valve. You see it has a float, and it has this fill tube, which is what actually goes into the this kind of a pipe sticking up. And this is where the water goes to actually fill your toilet bowl. It also puts water in the tank. So, nice thing, especially since they're the same brand, is we can just hold it next to the new one and basically set all the measurements, which are pretty close. You don't really need any tools for these. You can see for the length, there's just sort of a slip collar, and then you just sort of yank and twist. And you can make it any length you need. Now, these have pretty good instructions for, you know, where the water level should be and how far above the float should be and all that. And that's, if you need it, that's fine, but as long as it worked once, you usually just measure it to match the existing. So, here's our new unit. It's looking pretty good. And here's a little bag of small parts. Just gonna stick the new hose on, fill hose on there. Friction fit, doesn't need a hose clamp or anything. And grab a new clip. Alright. And now I'm just going to put it in there. You don't use any putty on these. That will actually, it's bad. It'll attack the plastic and make it not fit right. And the main thing is just to jiggle it around so it doesn't interfere with the flushing lever. There's a kind of a rubber, or I guess it's neoprene washer that goes between the fill valve and the tank, and you want the pointy end to go down into the hole. So that's there. And that way it won't leak. Tank water, by the way, is clean. It's not like toilet bowl water. It's so clean that if there was a natural disaster and you really had to, you could drain your toilet tank and get, you know, a gallon or two of water to stay alive. Yeah, think about those things, because I'm in California and they got all these crazy earthquakes, landslides, riots, and forest fires. It was safer back in Montana when all we had to worry about was black ice. Okay, and then get that about as tight as you can get it just with your thumb and index finger. Because you don't want to break the little plastic things and or strip it out or anything bad like that. Okay, so that's pretty good. Just going to move the flusher, make sure that doesn't interfere. And the clip just goes right over that fill pipe in such a way that the hose points down the pipe. Okay. Before we move on, let me just show you what's going on in there. Okay. Not the best angle, but here's our new fill valve we just put in. Filling hose going down the pipe. Flapper, looks like they put some weights on there because it wasn't closing right. So We'll see if we actually need the weights, but we're going to change that flap out while we're here. It looks kind of old and green and gross. Why not already? So that just comes out, doesn't need any tools. And got a new one I'll put in, but I need 2 hands for that, so I'm going to put the camera back on the tripod. Okay. So, pull out the cardboard packaging stuff. I don't think it needed that weight. We'll see. It's easy to put back on if it turns out we need it. Okay. And then you want to make it so the chain has a little bit of slack, but not too much. And I know that sounds sort of vague, but that's how you do it in plumbing. And you test it, make sure it moves easily when you flush. Sometimes you need to grab that rod and bend it so the angle's a little better. I think that'll work. Okay. So everything looks pretty good. Bucket. And I'm just going to reattach that supply hose at the bottom. Careful not to cross thread it, and again, just as tight as you can get it with a strong hand. Okay. And let's fill it up, see if it leaks. Oh yeah, hear that whoosh instead of the whistle? And the tank's filling up nice and fast. The bowl's filling up nice and fast. And I open it all the way. Seems to be working pretty well. Yeah. If you find you have trouble, it's not operating well, usually the thing you do is you take the top off this and let the water flush it out, being careful not to have water spray in your eye. And usually if there's any little bits of plastic or dirt in there, that'll flush them out and you'll be good to go. I don't think it's going to be a problem here. And it shuts off. Okay, I think I got it all running right now. Whole thing took me maybe 10 minutes or less. So I hope this is helpful. If you ever need to fix your toilet, you'll know how to do it now. If you ever work as a handyman, I guarantee you'll get to change these out. So until next time, see you later.